Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this next episode of True Grime Stories. I'm your host, Jeannie Henderson, and I'm here today with a new friend, Leanna Whyte. We just met today, and I'm so excited to have her here on the podcast. She's a cleaning business owner from Milton, Ontario, Canada. Her business is Sparkling Green Cleaning Services, and she's been in business for 12 and a half years. And she has been growing her business. It's actually grown quite a bit in the last year. But today, we're going to be talking through one of the challenges that Leanna is dealing with currently. We're going to be doing a new type of episode that we're going to be calling Grime Scene Analysis. So instead of talking about a solved grime scene, we're going to be solving a grime scene live today. So I'm excited for you all to be here with us. So welcome, Leanna. Thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeannie. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I'm so glad that you chose to be part of this. This is a great way not only to help you, but I'm sure that a lot of people out there in the cleaning business world can probably relate to some of the things that we'll talk about today. So can't wait to just dive in.
Yeah,
so how did you get started in the cleaning business?
Yeah, great question. So I have a background in human resource management. I was a director and a regional manager. And then I had children, and my dream was always to stay home with my children. I knew that from a very young age. And so I stayed at home with them for 7 years. And then instead of going back to the corporate world, where I felt it would be inflexible to be with my children, I wanted to just find something that would allow me to be there when they needed me. So if they were sick or they had a field trip or summer break, I just wanted to still be a full-time mom to my kids, but yet have something small on the side. And then, so that was April of 2013. And we didn't talk about this beforehand, but shortly after I decided, I kind of fell into this. I'm like, well, I can do cleaning. It provides me flexibility, but also being active. I just foresaw myself doing it myself. I don't have necessarily the entrepreneurial spirit. I'll just do this. I'll be active. I'll be flexible. It will meet my needs. So that was great. But shortly thereafter, my husband of 12 years said he wanted to do something different, meaning he no longer wanted to be married. And anyways, it wasn't a surprise. It was fine. That was a while ago.
Right.
I'm fine. But it put me in an interesting spot because I really wasn't earning a lot of money. And I had decided not to go back to my previous career, which would be stable and provide what I needed to keep above board with my kids and I financially. So at that point, I thought, even though it was fairly new, I was still going to stay committed to the cleaning business. And through a move completely to a different city, like an hour away, so I had to rebuild the few customers that I had at that time. It just kind of grew from there.
Wow.
I
think a lot of people do start out that way, almost an accidental entrepreneur, I like to call it, like it wasn't ever intended to become a big business, just like a kind of a side hustle to earn a little extra, but then something changes.
Yeah.
There's some major life change that kind of makes it either necessary or an opportunity to make that big change. So, you obviously, most businesses in general don't make it 5 years at all. Mm-hmm. And much fewer businesses make it 10 years. Mm-hmm. So here you are at the 12 and a half year mark. Congratulations. Thank you. And I think sometimes we have to remember that, sometimes when we're looking at our business and thinking it could be this or it could be that, it's an accomplishment just keeping the doors open sometimes. over a
And
long period of time.
yeah, thank you for saying that. I mean, like you said, I went from wanting a little extra money to, oh my goodness, I need to make this work. And this is going to be my bread and butter because I still wanted that flexibility, even though that now was my only income. I didn't have the income of a spouse anymore. So thank you for saying that. And on the tough days where it's like, yeah, I made it past 5 years. Yes, I've made it to 10 years. There's still some days I want to close our doors, but then I think of our customers, and more importantly, I think of our team members, and I think they count on this and they need this money. And that's really, really important to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the work that you do stops being just about you and
Mm-hmm.
your needs and your family's needs, and suddenly all the other families that your business is impacting, and that's actually a good, healthy driver.
Yep.
Like it moves us forward on the days that are
Yes.
like, you know what, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But you can't because other people are depending on you. Yeah, I can relate to that. So,
It is
uh,
motivating.
yeah, it does. It does keep you going. So, um, you had shared with me before we started talking that you've had some growth in the past year, and you did join CBF a few years ago. So your business is, you've implemented some new systems in your business and things like that. But when you really look at, where you're at now, and what you're going through, what is one of your biggest challenges? Like what do you want to like? What do you want to break through today, or what do you want to work on?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I'll just say really quickly, I did pull out my milestone actions checklist,
Hmm.
but I haven't looked at it in a really long time.
Okay.
It was encouraging. It was encouraging to pull out because I was like, oh, I have accomplished a lot.
I
Some
love
days,
that.
yeah, some days you don't feel like you're accomplishing. You're just dealing with the day-to-day stuff with,
Mhm.
for myself, with the customers and the technicians and, you know, anything, health and safety stuff, or we're ordering Christmas gifts right now for like all the day-to-day stuff. So,
Mhm.
but to see that checklist is really rewarding.
Yeah.
And also in preparation for this podcast, I pulled out our revenue numbers. And so to see the growth from before I started CBF to now, we really have grown a lot. And
Mhm.
so that is also such a great feeling, very rewarding. I think for myself, I am guilty of comparing myself. And that's one part of it. And the second part is I think I have a fear of growth. Um,
Okay.
and I was thinking about it prior to today. Why do I have a fear of growth? And I'm not quite sure why. Other than I've seen so much chaos in my business prior to CBF, and it's not like it's been entirely smooth since joining CBF, but it's been a whole lot better,
Mhm.
a lot more stable for sure. I think maybe in the back of my mind, or subconsciously, I don't want chaos again. And so so we had a technician start last week to replace one that's resigning at the end of November. And I hire technicians that I end up really liking, and they're doing well and they're connecting with our customers. And for one reason or another, um, they end up leaving. But
Mhm.
on a quick side note, we do have one technician with us for 6.5 years, and another one for 3.5 years,
Mhm.
and another one coming up on her second year anniversary. So although we don't have a large roster, we do have some of our technicians that have been with us and are a huge blessing
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
stability of our business.
I'm glad you brought that up. So just to make sure I understand, you're feeling stuck, but when you looked at your milestone checklist, which is a tool that we use in CBF to measure growth, and when you
Yep.
looked at your numbers, you're like, well, maybe I'm not as stuck as I thought I was, right?
Yes, the numbers are going up, and not inconsequentially. Like they're a lot larger. I think one of my flaws, many flaws, I compare to myself to others. Like, oh, I doubled in a year, I tripled in a year, I hit $1 million, And I think CBF as a community is phenomenal and such great value. I absolutely love it. But one thing I get caught up in is looking at other people and attending these amazing retreats, which I absolutely love. And I love seeing people get green jackets, and I love to see them celebrate. And I think, oh, when can I be there? Why am I not there yet? Actually, what am I doing to hold myself back from getting my green jacket, which, to hit that $1 million revenue mark?
Yeah, yeah. And my heart goes out to you because I have felt this way many times. And this is an issue that so many people deal with, the comparison issue. And the digital world right now, it doesn't bode well for those of us who are like, comparing ourselves. And it's so easy to go out there and read other people's highlight reels, because people don't share the bad things as much as they share the good. So there's a whole bunch of other people probably feeling exactly how you're feeling, but they're not sharing that. And you're only seeing like the happy stuff generally, not all the time. I would like to say though that I do feel like our community is a safe place where if you do share something like that, like so many people come alongside you and want to help you. And that's why I love doing what I do as a coach, because there are so many people who can share their experiences. None of us are perfect, but we can help each other kind of do the next thing that needs to be done. And so I love that you shared that you were looking at your milestones. A lot of times that feeling of helplessness and overwhelm comes from the fact that you don't feel like you've made movement, or you haven't made as much movement as someone else, And one of my favorite authors, Patrick Lencioni, said something like, I'll paraphrase, a job will most likely be miserable unless there is some form of measurement. If you are not measuring progress, eventually you get overwhelmed, you feel miserable, and this goes for everyone on the team. So when you're working on that positive mindset of like how far I've come, that's one of the things I think that we can do. But I do think, right, you kind of touched on one of the points that you can work on is that mindset, that belief that you are making progress, that you are moving forward. When you're, what would it be like for you if you could grow and you didn't have more chaos? Like, what if growth, and I like to use this term, what if your business got bigger and easier instead of bigger and harder?
That's the dream, right?
Yeah.
And
what would that be like for you?
It sounds like a dream. It sounds amazing. It sounds like I would have less days, and I honestly don't have them as nearly as much as I did before, but less days of like throwing in the towel, or I don't want to do this anymore, or let me get to a point where I can sell my business, to this is really rewarding and this is fulfilling. And if I can run it without chaos, that would be wonderful. And so, I did hire a support specialist earlier this year that works remotely. And I have had one for the past few years, but this one is working more hours. She's just taken more off my plate. And in the future, I would love to have a salesperson. And I say that because you have your day scheduled and you have 7 things you want to accomplish or 7 things you need to focus on. And then the phone rings, and then it rings again, and then it rings again, which is fantastic. That's why we're in business.
Right.
We need it to ring. But if I'm the one, and in my case, I am the one taking all of those sales calls, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, that's great. I spoke with these people, and the, whether or not these leads convert to sales is, another aspect or another story, but I didn't accomplish anything on my list that I wanted to accomplish. And that's discouraging.
Yeah, there is all the interruptions of the day that happen that are really difficult when you're running the business, especially at the size that you're at right now. It does you have almost all of the hats still on, right?
Yeah.
All the hats of running your business, all the tasks are still mostly yours. What
Yeah.
does your support specialist do?
She mostly does our scheduling, all of our customer interaction, and payroll. Those are the biggest things. She responds to our reviews, which is, we have a big push right now to get to 100 reviews. We're at 85.
Okay, you got it.
Um,
You're going to be there soon.
yeah, so she does a lot of smaller tasks, but the biggest thing is the scheduling, customer interaction, and payroll.
Good. I'm glad to hear that that's what you have her doing.
Yeah.
Because those are tasks that you've already made those sales, and this person is maintaining them for you. You don't have to go out and get that new revenue for your business,
Yeah.
those new employees for your business, that kind of thing. So she's doing some good tasks, what we call old money tasks, money that you've already earned, right? And she's managing that for you.
Yeah.
So when you are thinking about growing, where do you want to grow to? What do you want your business to look like, say, 12 months from now?
Great question. So when I left the retreat in September, I was like, I want to make it into the pros. So that's my first goal. So 500,000 per year.
Okay. And
Right now, I think for 2025, I'm hoping to finish at 425,000. So can I think 500,000 is about 42,000 a month, I believe, consistently.
right. Yep.
And I haven't quite hit even 40,000 a month yet, but I'm close.
You're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So that's my first goal. I think, I don't know. I don't know if I should measure my goals by revenue. I don't know if I should measure it by how much involvement I have in the business. Because in the back of my head, there's a few things in my personal life, good things, that make me want to hand off more of my business, and then be able to focus on the bigger growth tasks.
Right. Yeah.
Things that are going to move the needle.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that. I think personal goals always have to go with your business goals, right? We're people, and the business was created to serve your life and the lives of everyone else who's in the business, right? So those goals should be part of your business goals. And I like to break those numbers down. Like, what does a $500,000 business look like for you? How many employees is that? How many clients is that? And, where do we need to get? So right now you're at 6 employees and you want to get to, 500,000 next year. What is the average client paying per cleaning right now? Like, what's one cleaning average for your business?
I would say prior tax, maybe about $240. So we're at $60 an hour. An average house here, maybe about 4 hours.
Okay. So then a biweekly client's bringing in almost $500 a month to your business. Okay.
Yep.
And a $42,000 month, and this is just very round numbers, right? But so a $42,000 month divided by 500, which is what your average client would be bringing in, that's 84 clients total. How many clients are you at right now?
So we're at about 105. However,
you have a lot of like monthly.
We have a lot of monthlies. We also have a handful of very small customers that probably shouldn't have taken on, but like, let's say, for example, I don't want to say little old ladies, but like, oh, I only need 2 hours a month. And I'm like, well, if you live really close to one of our existing customers, okay. And there was something else I was going to point out. I can't remember.
So let's reverse that. So right now you're at about 30,000 a month. Is that right?
37.
37. Okay. And you said you have how many clients?
105, approximately.
We'll just back into it a different way. So that brings your average client to about 352 a month, which is pretty significantly different. So if you kept the same client mix that you have
Mhm.
now, which that might be one of the things that needs to change.
Right, right.
But if you have the same client mix that you have right now, a $42,000 a month, that would be, yeah, just like 120 clients would get
Mhm.
you to that, right? So just to hit that first milestone that you're trying to get to, that 42,000,
Yep.
have to get to about 120 clients.
Yep.
And right now you're serving that 100 and how many clients? 100 and
We have 105, about
105.
105 right now.
And you have about 6 cleaning technicians.
We do, yes.
So, and this is what we teach in CBF. Each of your cleaning technicians is serving about 17 or 18 clients, right? So you can
Mhm.
kind of back into that number too. So that looks like 120 clients divided by, it was 17 and a half. So that's 7 cleaning technicians could actually serve that, right? So it's not more technicians, but I always say you always need 2 more than you think you need.
Mhm. Mhm.
You always need 2 more than you think you need.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the things that is going to really help you grow. All right. So we know where you want to be. We know kind of what you're afraid of. Now, I will share. I was afraid of growth when I started. You shared something with us prior to the recording today that you're afraid to advertise because you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't if you're going to have enough people to handle it, or something along that. And I remember actually saying those words myself at one point in my growth. I'm afraid to advertise because I won't have enough people to serve
Yep.
the new clients that are coming in.
Yep. And so we are advertising. We have our Google ads and our
Mhm.
Facebook ads. And then I just signed up for a new jobber feature for campaigns, and I can do blasts, and I will. I know I will, because like we know we have to do hard things.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, what if I get an influx of people that are looking for service, and I can't service them all, and we have to put them on a wait list, or they have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for their first clean. And then the gears just start going. I have B players, I can only assign them to the A players. What do I do about the B players? So there's always
Right. You kind of can talk yourself
things.
out of
Yes.
things, right? Because you start having those little conversations in the background. Well, this is a very common fear that people have, and especially once you like hit a certain plateau and you keep hitting against that plateau and you can't get past it, then it starts to kind of get scary to think about, well, what if I do get past it? If I can't handle it here, how am I going to
Yeah.
handle it there?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Um, what's the biggest your business has ever been? Is it now?
It's now. Yeah.
It's now. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is your only experience with the chaos that this size business will bring you with the systems that you have in place and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you grow, things change. And so that's what I want to come back and talk about is what can it look like when you're growing and how to get there. So let's take a little break here right now. We've been talking about CBF. We're going to introduce you to cleaning business fundamentals, and then we'll be right back to talk more with Leanna about getting past this plateau.
Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success.
Welcome back, everyone, to True Grime Stories. I'm here with Leanna Whyte of Sparkling Green Cleaning Services, and we are talking about her grime scene, and we're analyzing it today, and we're going to solve that live today. And Leanna, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing, some of the challenges that you're dealing with, and that fear of growth and getting stuck, and also kind of struggling with the mindset when you're comparing other people, your progress to other people's progress. These are all things that many of us deal with. And so I'm glad that you brought this up, because I'm sure many of our listeners are like, yeah, I'm right there. And, so how do I get over that? And I think they are slightly different issues. But first, let's talk about the comparison thing. So when you are out there and you see other people doing well, what you consider to be better than you, or that they're farther along, or they're where you want to be, how does that make you feel?
I think discouraged. I think I do vacillate between the reasons that they're doing better than myself. So there's some days that I'll say, well, there's only me, and a lot of these successful businesses have two owners. They have partners.
Okay.
They have a husband and wife team or friend team and they've been working on growing the business together. And obviously you can do double the amount of work with a partner.
Yeah.
And then there are other days that I'm like, well, the economy is very uncertain right now, and it has been for a while. And there are other days I'm like, well, I'm in Canada. I'm looking at all and comparing myself to the companies that are predominantly in the US. The market is different. The fees that they can charge, there's a whole variety of differences. And then sometimes I'll not make excuses, but put the reasoning in my head that, I do have other things like everybody else, but my faith, working out every day is important to me. We do have another small side business as well. So just things that take your time away. And then I'm like, oh, other people have lives too. Other people have their faith or their fitness, or it could be any number of things. It doesn't have to be those things, but things that pull them away and take their attention. So I think I go back and forth in my mind. I think it's a lot of tugging and pulling in my mind as to, why am I this way? Why is my business the size that it is and not larger? Why am I comparing myself? And should I? I know I shouldn't be comparing myself, but these are just some of the thoughts that are going through my mind.
Yeah. Well, and that's what people do. Human beings do that. We judge ourselves by what we see happening in other people's lives, and the digital world makes that so readily available on our phone every second of the day, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, first eliminating that, I think we strengthen ourselves when we can work on that. And many people, I was just with one of my mentors the other day, and he was talking about how your business can only grow to the level that you have grown to. And I always have to remind myself that, like, if I want my business to grow, I have to keep growing. And what's holding me back from growing? One of the things that you just did while you were doing that was one of the suggestions that I was going to suggest to you, is to capture your thoughts. When we're struggling with mindset issues, I really want to encourage you to capture those thoughts. Write down that negative thought and own it, but then flip it. Okay, so you did flip one just a minute ago. You said, well, I have all these things in my life. This is what's holding me back. But then you're like, everybody has a life.
Yeah, so does everybody else.
So does everybody else, right? And but I think the things that you're putting into your life are the growth things. Focusing on your health, focusing on your faith. Imagine if you didn't do those. Those are actually success strategies. Yeah. The most successful people in the world get up early in the morning and invest in their personal selves first.
Yes.
Before they do anything else. And you're doing that. So you already have a success strategy in place.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think I would not want to be successful in business if I didn't have my spiritual health, if I didn't have my relationship with God. And I wouldn't want to be successful in business if I couldn't enjoy it because of my own physical health. And so you don't want to let that go to the wayside Because
Exactly.
let's say your physical health, that's hard to get back if you've neglected it too long.
Mhm. Right.
Um, Success isn't important if you don't have those things, and your family as well. So
Yeah.
spiritual health and your physical health. But if you've neglected your relationships, and I have to tell myself this because
Yeah.
I can be very short with my husband
Mhm.
or my children because oh sorry, yes, I did get remarried. After that
Yeah,
horrible
I
story.
just guessed that.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. Yeah,
Huh,
good.
how does that
But
work?
those are, and this is just so true. Is human beings, we tend to focus on the negative. It's just a species thing. We're always focusing on the threat of what could hurt us,
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to be safe. We're trying to always keep ourselves safe. We do that for our families as well because we're always focused on the negative things around us.
Yeah.
But I want to encourage you, as one of your action steps is to take the time to really capture those thoughts. Don't allow them to exist. And every time you catch yourself saying one in your head, be very
Mm-hmm.
aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then say the other thing.
Say the opposite.
Yeah, say the opposite and write it
Mm-hmm.
down. This is a great journaling practice too, of just every time you catch yourself comparing yourself, cutting yourself down, to capture the thoughts and say the opposite thing. And as a person of faith, the power of the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
Saying it out loud uh, does make a difference. It tells
Mm-hmm.
all the forces around you that that you are going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And you have what it takes. You have the systems.
Yes.
You have the knowledge. You have the support of your community. You have so much more than so many other people in the cleaning business have. Many of us are truly going it alone, you know?
Yes. And I'm so incredibly grateful for that. Looking back to
Yeah.
pre CBF and thinking, wow, life was so different. I didn't have the support. I didn't even know there was a group out there of cleaning business
Mhm.
owners. To the point now where I meet other business owners or people that are starting a business, and I'm like, look, you're not doing cleaning, but my biggest piece of advice is find a community
Mhm.
because
Isn't that
it's
amazing?
so valuable, so grateful.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. But you do have that. Your mindset isn't horrible. It's just, it is hard to compare yourself. And I know you've done this exercise before, but you want to be a $500,000 business. You need to be a $500,000 business owner. If you want to be $1 million business owner, you have to be that person every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And we let ourselves off the hook saying, well, those people are different.
Right.
But I'm
Mhm.
I'm not really much different than you. But at one point, my mentor made me write down who I was
Mm-hmm.
and look at it every single day.
Really?
Yeah. So who are you? Are you a $500,000 business owner? Are you who are you a year from now?
Mm-hmm.
And say it as a statement.
Oh yes, I am a $500,000 business owner, um, and growing from there.
Okay. Yeah. And that's who you are now. Your business hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
I
here
will
you
say a proud moment. I don't know when the call was with Debbie a
are. Mhm.
few years ago, I would say, and she had us put up on the screen, I am a, and then write the revenue number, and we held it up. And I forgot about that, although I do have that piece of paper somewhere.
Mhm.
And then at retreat, that was one of the slides that she showed, and I recognized my handwriting, and
Oh,
I thought, it said I'm a $250,000 business, and it almost brought tears to my eyes because I'm not a $250,000 business. I'm this year I'll be a $425,000 business,
yeah.
and so that was really encouraging.
Yeah. So you are making great progress. We often feel overwhelmed or that we're not achieving things if we aren't measuring it often. So I love that you looked back before we got together today and compared year to year. One time I talked with a cleaning business owner, and it was in January or like February, and they're like, "Oh, January was terrible. It was so terrible. Business is so, my business is a wreck. Everything's going wrong." And she told me her revenue numbers, and I thought they sounded pretty strong. So I asked her what she did a year ago, January, and she literally was double the size
Wow.
of the year before. What the mistake that she was making was she was comparing January to December.
December, yes. Our strongest month of the year.
Right.
I always say January, February, July, and August, the worst for us anyways.
Right.
The worst months of the year.
Yeah.
January and February for sure. And that's why I love the business snapshots. Is like the metrics, like it's not just the revenue, but it's the number of customers you have and the number of technicians you have and the number of leads you have and all the things that you can measure.
Right. Yeah. So for that, so going forward, working on your mindset, talking through this, what are some of the things that you want to do going forward to kind of take control of this mindset monster that you have, and turn it around so that you're able to, approach your days with a stronger belief in who you are and what you're going to accomplish?
Ooh, good question. I think the first thing that came to mind was bring it to God in prayer. So I start my days off. Actually, I've structured my days just very quickly. I started getting up at 5 every day to do some work because it's uninterrupted. I'm not getting texts or calls or emails. But then after that, before the house gets up, I do go to God in prayer and then work out and then start my day. But for me, it's a great way to ground myself and connect with Him. And I think that would be very helpful, is to bring it to Him in prayer. And also probably write it out so it's a visual for me so I can see it every day.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think it's just so easy to get in a pattern of negative thoughts about ourselves or our abilities. And then it becomes like a well-worn path in our brain. It's just easier to have the negative thought than it is to have the positive.
Yeah.
And it plays out in the day and in our lives if we keep believing it. So I'm believing big things for you, but if you have to believe the big things for you. So yeah. So claiming who you are, believing that all the time, but then some practical things. Let's talk about your staffing, because that was kind of the main thing that you had brought up was, just your team is not growing. And that holds back your ability to sell. Right?
Yeah.
If you you're basically selling time. And if you don't have team members with time to sell, you can't fill their schedules.
Right.
And we won't have time today to go through your whole hiring process and things like that. But how often are you hiring a new person?
I would say as needed. And I know that is kind of against what CBF teaches or contradictory. Sorry, I keep looking down because I'm writing all the notes that you're giving me.
I'm looking at my notes too, so don't feel bad.
So I'm not distracted by something else. I'm like, ooh, these are good nuggets. And I don't want to forget these. So let me write them down.
Good thing we're recording.
But I would say as needed. So when somebody resigns, I don't feel like I'm getting enough sales or new business right now anyways to like, oh, now I need an additional person. Right now it's just more reactive than preventative, I guess. I'm just backfilling. I'm like, one resigned. She gave us till the end of November. And I was like, okay, I'm going to fill. So I filled it. But that doesn't account for our busy season coming up.
Right. Yeah. Right. The busy season is coming. You know it. You can look back at it and see what your needs were, but then also knowing that your business is bigger than it was last year. So your needs.
And maybe if I truly think about it, even though my background is HR, there's an element of me that does not enjoy hiring. And I think it's well, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but I think there's an element maybe that I just don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would write that down. So I would spend some time in that. I would suggest spending some time in that, like what you don't enjoy, because you can change it. Guess what? You're the owner. You can
Yeah.
make your hiring process anything you want it to be.
Mhm.
And, but you need more people than the people you're bringing on.
Mhm.
One of the things that I often will suggest, and are you doing like a regular one-to-one with your current team members?
Not on a regular basis. And I know that's an area that I really need to improve on. I do meet with them, but not on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Sorry, other than our team meetings, we do
Right.
quarterly. We do quarterly, but not one-on-one.
Yeah. So the power of the one-to-one, and it's not just to make your current team members happy, uh, although it does help in that regard. The power of the one-to-one helps you see the future a little bit better.
Mm.
You will learn things in your one-to-one meetings with team members, and we have a one-to-one like meeting guide inside of our resource directory with CBF that helps you kind of with an agenda for that meeting. But it's not a performance review.
Yeah.
It is like, how are you doing? How's your job going? And the other thing is there anything coming up that we should know about? Do you have any life changes coming up? Things like that. Because people will share with you when you ask them. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I've signed up for school this fall. I'm going to have to put in August." But if you don't ask, you don't find those things out. So there are people planning to leave you right now that you don't know about. Sorry,
Right.
no, that's bad news.
Hopefully there might be players.
But it's good news if you know about it ahead of time and you can make it a positive experience for both of you. That person can leave you smoothly. You can onboard others more quickly. But if you know that you aren't hiring fast enough, but there's that fear of having too many people, right? Like I can't fill their schedules.
Yeah.
But then you also mentioned that you have people on your team who could be better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this is where you have the power to change everyone's schedule. So if someone is not up to snuff, maybe they don't get all the houses.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get put on a PIP and you reduce their schedule and you can give some of those homes to your new people.
Yeah.
We call it move up or move out. Like this is where now you have leverage with your other team members. When you bring on 2 more team members, everybody's like, oh, what's going on?
Mm.
And it makes everybody rise.
Right.
Or if they don't, they leave.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Move up and move out.
It is a process, right? You can't like fix that overnight. But I think a lot of times what gets people stuck is they don't realize, oh, but I can change other people's schedules to make this all work. And if there's someone on your team, it's kind of like even if you have a customer that's not the greatest customer,
Yes.
right? And they maybe shouldn't be on your customer list, that if you move them off, you usually replace them with a great customer who's paying more and, so, but we're still afraid of doing that. It's the same thing with team members. So when you hire more people, it gives you leverage with your team to be able to move stuff around.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yes. Thank you. And I really appreciate you mentioning the one-on-one meetings with our technicians, because I've really dropped the ball doing that, and I do need to get to do that.
It's hard. Because I know we get behind on it too. It's just, it's hard to do it monthly, but even if you do it every other month, even just once a quarter, you will find out things that you didn't know.
Okay.
That, are happening in people's lives, but also ways that you can help them. You might have somebody on your team who's just dying to be a trainer, but until you ask questions like that, you don't know.
Right.
And
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll look for that document as well.
Yeah, that's a really good one. But I'm going to challenge you to hire more than you need.
Okay.
So you said earlier, well, I'm not really an entrepreneur, but guess what? You are.
Yes. I know.
And this is an entrepreneurial practice that comes more naturally to some people than others, but it's risk taking.
Yeah.
But instead of risk taking, I want to reframe that and encourage you to think of it as an investment in your future.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I do that, investment in my future. When I do that, then I'm like, oh, I have these schedules to fill. I do need to turn on, increase my budget for our ads, or start sending those campaigns through Jobber, or all the things that we know to do and have learned over the years to do with our marketing to increase leads and sales. So that will kind of light a fire.
Mm-hmm. It makes you it sets things in motion, right? Because once you have extra people on your team, now you have to fill their schedules.
Yes.
You have to be creative. Sometimes, one of the earlier podcasts that I did with Donnie Manquillo, I think his name is, he talked about this. Like, he learned that being overstaffed was his secret to success.
Oh.
Because of the leverage that it gives you.
Okay.
And you will fill their schedules if you then follow, like you said, all the things you know about doing your marketing. And if you can't fill their schedules, and go back and listen to that one again, but Donnie talked about send them out to clean for a nonprofit, give back give more cleaning to some of your cancer patients if you're with Cleaning for a Reason.
Yep.
And, have them do other things. Actually, one of the things that I'm going to have our team members do is like handwritten notes to our current and past clients. Like when when our team members have a little extra time. I just got one from another business.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, we need to be doing that.
That's really good. Hopefully they have good handwriting.
Right. There's that. Right.
There's that.
But, but you can also, my team has started doing like equipment maintenance days where everybody brings their equipment in and we all clean it together when we have a little extra time. And we get snacks. So it's like they're getting paid, they're cleaning their equipment. But then we also have snacks and it's kind of social time. So it's kind of a team building time as well.
I love that idea.
So like filling that time with other productive things. Everybody's like, oh, my team doesn't want to do door hangers. Then don't do door hangers. Imagine the power of a past client receiving a note saying, hey, we were just thinking of you. I wanted to let you know, that we'd love to have you back.
Right.
Or something like that.
I love that idea.
And so if you just started there, we talked about that first big domino. If you think of a big, long line of dominoes, and you just started with that hiring 2 people instead of 1. What other things would go into motion after that?
What would that look like? I love it. Well, you've gotten the ball rolling. I will follow through. I will hire, put my ad back out there.
Yeah. And then, this is where you go back and listen to your training again, like revisit your ads, update them, all that kind of stuff to get that going. I'll send you, as a gift for being here, I have a thing that helps you write better job ads, like a tool. So I'll send that to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And, but I encourage you to do the thing you're most afraid of.
Yes. I think hiring and
sometimes it's do the thing you don't like the most, right?
Yes. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I think there's an element of rejection, and that's a whole nother mindset, a whole nother talk, but element of rejection in hiring, an element of rejection in sales too. So although of course I do the sales, there's always like, ugh, am I just wasting my time speaking to this person? And they're like, Debbie said, are they tire kickers?
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, here's an exercise that really helps with that. And, hiring is a numbers game, sales is a numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that you have to do 5 interviews, you have to get 100 applications, you have to get, 20 of them that look good, 5 of them interview with you, and you hire one.
Yep.
Every time you do an interview, put a check mark somewhere, put a tally mark somewhere, and count it as a win every time you get to 5. That it's actually a win when you get there. That every rejection is that next step that you have to take to get to the one that's the right one for your business.
Okay.
The other ones are necessary steps to get there.
Right.
Same thing with selling. You might have, then that's where we understand the KPIs around selling. If you have to talk to, you have to do 10 quotes, to get 5 new clients.
Yep.
Then every time you do 10 quotes, you're gonna probably get 5 new clients. And that's the quotes that you lose are just as important as the quotes that you get.
Yes.
They're part of the process. They have to be done. Nobody's going to get 100%. And if you are getting 100%, you're probably not charging enough, right?
Right. Raise our rates.
Yeah, right. So
yes. Well, thank you. This has been so valuable. I have a whole bunch of notes. Sorry, I've been looking down. I've been writing notes, scribbling. I think I started writing without looking. So I'm going to see if I can decipher what I wrote.
Yeah, well, I would love to talk with you again sometime and hear how it goes. But keep in touch. Make sure to keep me posted on how it goes. I'm so glad that you came. What you shared is one of the biggest challenges I think that many of us deal with at the point where you're at. And I mean, honestly, it still happens to me today. I was just looking at the number of employees we had, and we've been stuck there for a little bit. So I have to go in and dive in on these things too in our business. So no matter what size you're at, you can easily start to plateau, and then that's a good time to do something like this today. Get a coaching call.
Yes. Well, I'm super grateful for your time. I'm super grateful for this opportunity and for your input and advice and all the takeaways that you've given me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. Thanks for being vulnerable. And I really wish you great success. Thank you so much for being part of True Grime Stories.
Thank you, Jeannie. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks. And to our audience today, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to some of our other episodes after you've listened to this today. If you found this helpful, I'm sure you'll find some of the other conversations we've had helpful too. Leanna shared that she's been listening to our podcast and found it very encouraging. So I want to encourage you to go back and listen to more. And be sure and share this, download, and subscribe. And I would love to get your review on whichever platform you listen to True Grime Stories. And be sure and come back next week for our next episode of True Grime Stories. And until then, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.